Hello people, and welcome to my channel. I am Jennifer Diamond, and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach living a whole food, plant-exclusive lifestyle for health and well-being, and it has changed my life, and it can change yours too. Today, I am so excited to share with you some terrific people, Connie and Bill DeKramer. Let's talk. So I am so excited to have you both here. I want to have you step over here, and we're going to be doing a wonderful recipe and learning all about you guys. And so if you don't mind, please share with our audience just a little intro and let people know who you are, and then we can go from there.
Well, thanks so much for having us, Jennifer. It's great to be here.
Bless Jennifer.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say is you've got to pay attention to her name. Jennifer Diamond. She is a gem.
You are so kind.
She is so sweet. I mean, yeah, we just love her to death. So, Connie and I live in British Columbia, Canada. This time of year, it's a little chilly up there. So we decided, let's be a snowbird. Let's go south for a little while. And where do we want to go? Well, warm, of course. Who do we know in a warm climate that we could hang with, right? So this is the perfect place. So here we are, just outside Phoenix, and spending time with Jennifer and Todd, and it's just been so much fun. So yeah, you want to say a little something about how we got started in the whole food plant-based?
Well, I think most of us in the world get started with whole food plant-based because we have some kind of health condition, and we've decided it's time we want to try to see if we can heal ourselves. And that happened for me, for sure, and also for you.
Right. So when I met Connie back in 1988, I had been vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian for 16 years. And, you know, I got started back in, 73 or something like that. And going vegetarian, it simply meant that's a healthier diet. So it didn't seem to me that it mattered very much. As long as I was eating vegetables, I would be getting healthy. So I meet Connie 16 years later. I have got so much inflammation and arthritic pain in my body. I have to lift one arm out of bed in the morning after a volleyball tournament. It's like, oh, I'm hurting. And I am seeing an MD, an Ayurvedic physician, a physiotherapist, and a chiropractor. And I ask all of them, so this is 1988, remember, I ask all of them, should I consider my diet at all? Because they're giving me supplements and exercises and all this. Nothing's really doing much, but they're the experts. Where else do you go?
Yeah.
And is my diet having anything to do with it? Would food have anything to do with it? And they all said no. Inflammation has nothing to do with your diet. And I meet Connie, and she's been whole food plant-based. She's seen the power of whole foods and inflammation. And she sees how I'm eating. She sees the pain I'm in, and she just very kind of innocently says, have you ever thought about dropping dairy? Because I was lacto-vegetarian. We're talking major lacto.
Major dairy.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to tell you the kinds of things that I lived on. But anyway, it created this problem. And I was reluctant at first because, like I say, I had been talking to 4 professionals. And in my mind, like so many of us, we have this conditioned thinking like the doctors know everything.
Yeah, I do want to just ask you, in case people don't know, can you explain, most people know what a medical doctor is, but a quick sentence about what the other types of doctors, you mentioned chiropractor and Ayurvedic and naturopath, did you say?
No, the other was a physiotherapist and a chiropractor.
Yeah, so just for a quick minute, in case people don't know what those are.
Yeah, so the MD, that's a regular thing. The Ayurvedic physician I was seeing, he was also a Western MD and trained in Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurvedic medicine is traditional ancient Indian healing food modality, is the way I usually describe it. Where, of course, when this was first developed, this was thousands. I mean, we're talking, a lot of people say 5,000, 6,000 years ago. Some people say 10,000 years ago. Whatever it was, this method of eating and producing health with whole foods has been around for a long time. And so back in those days, it was kind of the Hippocratic code that let food be your medicine and medicine be your food.
And we all know that one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very common
Yeah.
one to know.
Yeah.
So really, that's interesting to hear. So you already were aware that there was another route to try,
Yeah.
even though it ultimately
Yeah,
turned into
wasn't-
something
yeah,
even
exactly.
greater.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We
okay.
really refined it and
Yeah.
made it work from Connie's knowledge and experience. That
And
we had.
physiotherapist
Yeah, physiotherapists,
is,
I was seeing them because, there's some physio stuff going on because I'm playing competitively and I'm in a lot of pain, so he do what he could do. And the physiotherapists, of course, have a background in terms of supplementation and that kind of thing to help you with your muscles, your skeletal, and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So not real deep medical knowledge, but they definitely know how to work with the body and support that. And a chiropractor, of course,
yeah,
was
and
there too,
chiropractor.
with their
Manipulate the
ideas.
bones and the
Yep.
and just the body in a certain way. I've been to a chiropractor before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so so we want to dive into a lot of stuff, but people are probably wondering what we have here. So
Yeah.
if you want to share what we're going to be making while we continue to talk, that would be really great too, because I'm excited to learn about what's going on here.
This is one of my latest creations.
It's
Connie's,
so good too. You will love it.
I'm
It's
excited.
fabulous.
Connie's really the chef. We had a Whole Foods all-organic restaurant in Santa Fe, New Mexico back in the 90s, and she is the chef. She can make dishes, just to finish my story, I then listened to Connie even though I didn't believe her because she said, I'll cook for you for 2 weeks. So I didn't have to do anything to transition, and she started cooking for me in 2 weeks, and the pain was 60,
Wow.
70% gone in 2 weeks. So that got my attention.
Yeah, what a deal.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
deal.
That
What
was
a deal for you.
I'm on board. Let's do this. So she's really the chef, but I've always loved baking things. So I kind of do the baked goods. And one of the things that I've always loved, we came up with the way of doing sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. Connie loves baked sweet potatoes. We were working in a situation once where we were living, the stove didn't have a timer on it. And we were living close to where we worked, so we would come back from work for lunch. But if we wanted baked potatoes for lunch, we had to figure out how can we let them bake for 4 hours and not be overbaked. So we started this slow bake. We would bake them in a container with the lid on at like 175, 200 for 4 hours in order for them to be done when we got home and not be overdone.
So what is this kind of container? A glass?
Glass,
or,
yeah.
And it had a lid?
With a glass lid.
Yes.
Yep.
So did you cut the potatoes or you put them in whole? How did you do that?
It works either way,
So you
because
put
that
them in
long time.
you put them in the container. You put the oven you set on low temperature.
Yep.
What temperature?
So I think back then, if we were going to bake them for 4 hours, I think we did like 175, 180.
So
which is
really
about
low.
As low as they go.
Yeah.
often. Yeah.
Okay. And then you just left it in there for
Yeah.
4 hours.
So we discovered that a long time ago,
Okay.
and we loved it. So then what I would do sometimes is I would take these slow-baked potatoes and I'd put them in a food processor and I'd whir it up and I'd make like a pudding out of it. Oh,
There you go.
heaven. I just loved it. So we've been doing that for years. What was it, about a month ago, we discovered this even longer than that. A couple of years ago, we thought, what if we used this pudding and made chocolate pudding? So then adding a few dates and some chocolate to it, killer chocolate pudding.
Yeah, and we're gonna have the recipe in the show notes. So don't worry about, if you want to try this, don't worry about needing to write anything down. Just enjoy, and they were kind enough to share the recipe, so we're sharing it with you guys too.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. So I have baked potatoes, so we're going to make more chocolate
trade
pudding.
you.
Okay. Well, we're going to make more chocolate pudding than we need for the recipe. The recipe then came out of the chocolate pudding idea. We were having that one night, and I thought, I wonder if we can make a cookie out of this chocolate pudding. It is so delicious.
It's so good.
So I needed to add some dry ingredients, so that's what I have here. So we're going to make the dry ingredients first, which is oats, dates, those are 4 dates, 1/4 cup of cashews, teaspoon of baking powder and a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon.
Does
So
it matter
just
what
this-
kind of dates or what type of dates are those? Because there's different kinds of dates.
There are different types of dates, and I haven't found that with the chocolate that's in it, it makes that much difference. So what I've got 4, and in the recipe it'll say 4 medium dates. So those are usually your Deglet-Noor
Okay,
size
so
date.
those are a little bit smaller
A little
than
bit smaller than the Medjool.
the Medjool.
The Medjool are a little sweeter, a little moister, and a little bigger. So you can adjust that.
Perfect.
And again, you can adjust the sweetness to your preference once you try the recipe and you go, okay, well, that many Medjool or that many Deglet-Noor were good, and work with what you like.
Okay, this is exciting.
So I'm going to put this into the food processor.
Okay.
So that is, how much is it? 3/4 of a cup of rolled oats, 1/4 of a cup of cashews. We've got a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of baking powder, and we've got the 4 dates. So
Nice.
this is my dry ingredients. So I'm going to whirl those around and get those going.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Whenever I do my appliances, I have a dance party. So there you go. I'll just turn that off for a minute.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dry ingredients and put them in a bowl because I'm going to make
No
the
more
chocolate
dancing?
pudding mix.
Oh, we
No,
get
yeah,
to
we're
do.
back.
Okay.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
We're not done yet. I'm going to put those in there.
Okay, so everything is blended up really nicely,
Yep.
and it looks kind of crumbly.
Yeah, and yet
You
there's
can
some-
hold it up straight up
Oh,
so
yeah,
people
right.
can see. Like, yeah, you kind of get the consistency.
Yeah, there's still a few rolled oats showing. So depending on how you like your cookies, you can do it longer, so it's
Okay.
a little more refined.
Okay.
But we like it just a little bit chunky. And,
Yeah.
you know, being whole food plant-based,
Here, I have this in case this
Oh,
is
good,
helpful. There
thanks.
you go.
being whole food plant-based, one of the things that we learned is the more whole the food is, the more beneficial it is to the body. We haven't really, I haven't baked anything with flour for a long time. You know, the flour is just ground down so fine that it really, the body utilizes it very differently than the whole form.
So you're talking about like a store-bought
Yep.
refined
Yep.
flour
Yep, fully
versus
refined.
this, you
Yep.
made your own,
Yep.
and then you can decide if you want it, you know,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah, yes,
chunkier
yeah.
or
Right.
yeah. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so that's the dry ingredients. Now
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the chocolate pudding part.
Okay.
So this is going to be a full
Oh,
recipe.
let's see. Should we put the
Oh, yeah,
blade in?
thank you,
Put the
thank
blade
you.
in.
We've
Okay.
got 4 cups of the baked sweet potatoes. So I've got 2 cups of the white sweet potato and 2 cups of the orange garnet yam potato. And you can do it with all white. You can do it with all the orange yam.
Oh, so this white potato is not a regular potato. It is
That's right.
a type of
Sweet
potato.
potato. Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the flavors, are the flavors different between the
Yeah.
two potatoes?
Right.
Yes, they
So
are.
the white sweet potato is sweet and caramely. The orange is sweeter and more like honey-like. To
Okay.
me.
Oh, to
Would
mix that sounds very good.
Yeah, yeah.
I've eaten them both separately. I don't recall if I've blended them purposefully, so that's nice. Okay.
So that's what we're doing there. Then we've got 20 dates, and I've cut them all in half because that's the way I ensure there's no pits in
Yeah,
them.
no pits. That'll
No
really
pits.
be a bad day for you and your
Right,
machine, right?
Okay, and then we've got 2/3 of a cup of cacao powder.
Nice.
So you see how simple this is. For
Yeah,
a
that's
chocolate pudding, it's a 3-ingredient chocolate pudding. And like I say, we're pretty sold on it. Okay, now I'm going to start to pulse this at first because if I don't, it's just a cloud of chocolate in there.
Okay, and
So we'll
I'll
pulse
do
a bit.
the dance party. Will
Yeah,
begin.
right,
Ready?
let's start. check this out. Now, one thing, when we bake the sweet potatoes, sometimes there's more liquid that kind of just oozes out of it. There wasn't much on this, so I'm going to check. This might be a little bit stiff.
Okay.
So
Just
I'm
make
going
sure
to.
I'll just turn it off.
Yeah. So that's going to show me.
Ooh, I just got a whiff of the chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so you can see what this is like.
Yeah.
It's pretty stiff. Now,
Let's see.
the neat thing about this pudding is that you can use it like this. It makes a fabulous chocolate frosting.
Oh.
If you want to frost a chocolate cake, if you
Oh,
want to
my
frost
goodness.
chocolate cupcakes, there's something else that I use.
Brownies.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we'll even frost chocolate brownies.
Oh, I
sometimes.
should try this. I'm going to have to try
This
this.
is great. Yeah, you've really got to try
Feed
this.
it to
Jennifer. You're
the
gonna love it.
babies.
So I'm going to set that right there.
Okay.
I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of water. And so we're going to make this just a little bit more like a pudding because we need that moisture in the cookies. Yep, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Put that on, put this out. So I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to just add the water as it's running. Okay, well, it's still pretty stiff, but we're going to go with that. So this would be a fabulous frosting. It's going to be a wonderful filling for the cookies. So I'm going to take this out now and measure 2 cups into the dry ingredients, because that's going to finish our cookie recipe.
so this is a 2-for-1.
Yeah,
so you
right.
made one batch of frosting, but you're going to cut it in half, or not in half, but you're going to do your measurements to use some of it for the cookies. I love that. So are we done with this? I can move it out of our way?
we move the
Okay.
water out. Okay. And then
Wow.
I've got my 2-cup measure. Where did I put that?
Yep, I can.
Oh, here it is.
Well, there it is. Or we can get a 1 cup.
Entirely. So let's take.
It's such a great pudding. So yum. Or frosting.
Yeah.
Can you freeze it?
No, I haven't. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm always about freezing everything and saving
Yeah,
it.
Batching. That's
Yeah.
cooking. It's just never lasted that long in our house.
Oh, you guys enjoy a good chocolate pudding. Okay, I get it.
It doesn't get out
Yeah.
of the refrigerator for long.
Yeah, so this is a good point. If you find that it's too dry and it doesn't look like a frosting, then I'm going to say that you're suggesting add a little tablespoon of water at a time until it's the right consistency.
Yep. there we
Okay.
go. Okay, now that's what I'm going to add to my cookies. And then
Okay.
I'm going to take the rest of it out and we'll put it in another
Okay.
container. Now I set this for that, Jennifer, but we don't need something that big. You want to get something smaller that
Yeah,
will just
you want to
hold
go
the
back
last
to our
couple of-
water?
Yeah, let's do
our
that.
water dish? Okay. Do you want me to do it, or
Yeah,
Connie?
that'd be
Do you
great.
want to do
Why don't
it?
you do that?
Oh, you do it, sweetheart.
Okay. We can all
Then
do
you'll
it.
enjoy the smell again and again.
Okay. I'm looking for my favorite. I'll use this spatula.
Yeah, these spatulas are great, aren't they?
Oh my
love
gosh,
silicone
I love a good
spatulas.
spatula for
Yeah.
sure. So we're just taking the rest and just putting it in a bowl, and then we're going to set this aside.
So I like using the food processor to final mix it. You could probably fold this in, but I just find it so much easier to let the machine do the work. So
Okay.
each of those.
So
I had
once
it.
you have it all measured, you're going to put it back in,
Yeah.
give it a nice, good blend,
Right.
and then that's going to be your cookie batter.
That's
That
gonna be
is
the
so
cookie batter.
fun.
Isn't that something? So the way that the recipe is written for the cookies is that you make the dry ingredients first, and then the recipe for the pudding itself is measured so that there's all just enough pudding. So you make the pudding, and then you just put the dry ingredients back into the food processor. You don't have to.
Are you
put all
sure
the
you
pudding-
don't want it? I think maybe you just want another reason to dance some more.
Right. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll just move this out of the way.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to set that. right.
sure.
Almost done.
We're almost done. Okay.
Almost there. Yeah, it's getting there. Let's see, that needs to go down like that.
Yep.
Go like that. So again, I'm going to pulse
Here,
it
you
first.
can put this guy.
Okay, yep. Pulse it to get it started. Oops.
There you go. sports.
Yeah, okay. We've got it. We've got our cookie
Awesome.
batter.
Yeah.
So you can see what that looks like
Sugar
now.
in the camera.
Yeah, it's got
Yep.
the camera right there. So
great.
Yep.
there we go.
Wow. That looks really good.
And doesn't it tell them what it
so good.
smells like? Oh my gosh.
It really does smell sweet and the
Does it smell great?
chocolatey. I can smell the dates in there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can smell, but I wouldn't know there was sweet potato in there
No.
unless you told me.
No, you
Yeah.
wouldn't.
You wouldn't know. So if you're looking for somebody to, make this for somebody that isn't whole food plant-based or is transitioning,
They'll
Yeah.
love it.
you just offer it to them. You don't have to give them the list of ingredients,
Exactly,
right? And
exactly.
and then let them give you feedback. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using a melon baller.
So I like a melon baller. This is the.
I love a melon baller.
Oh man, it's just so quick and easy this way. And so I just put these together. This is the 1 3/8 inch
Okay,
scoop.
so that's probably the bigger
Yeah,
one.
it's a bigger one. It's certainly not a full ice cream scoop,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a wonderful way to get them out. And so I just.
So
line
I have
out-
this one. Is it the same
It's the
size?
same size,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Yep,
So this
that's
is
it.
my larger
That's
one.
it.
Yep.
So it
You
is,
knew the
yeah.
measurements, so that's
Yeah.
great. And look at how perfect and
I
beautiful
know,
these are
they
coming
come
out.
Really nice, don't they? Yeah. And then I'm
Wow.
going to take a spoon and I'm going to flatten them out so that
Oh.
they're actually like cookies.
Maybe I could do this and you flatten.
Yeah, teamwork.
He
Teamwork.
likes to do it his way, though.
That's okay. So what would happen if you didn't flatten them out?
Well, you'd have little balls.
So it's not going to
wonder-
change shape, right?
Right, no, that's the thing. Yeah, it's not like the old Toll House cookies where you put this little blob on and it kind of melts out with the butter and all that.
Yes.
So, yeah, these I shape to the shape that I want them. They're pretty much that shape at the end. So, yeah, I'll do that with a wet spoon. That'll be my next step.
Okay.
Yeah. But did you have some questions? Jennifer,
Yeah,
while we-
yeah. I have some written here just in case, so that's why you see me holding this. And so, Connie, I want to ask you, what led you to explore, in the first place, a whole food, plant-based lifestyle? Tell me a little bit about that. What happened that you decided, what is this?
Yeah, well, my first husband had a very serious heart arrhythmia, and he was on a lot of meds, and we learned about the Cushy Institute in Boston, and that maybe they could really help change his health. So that was my first intro.
So what is the Cushy Institute, in case somebody's not familiar?
Yeah, the Cushy Institute
Cushy.
is macrobiotic cooking. So that's all whole food plant-based with a lot of emphasis on beans and rice and veggies. And in about a year and a half, he was off all meds. He completely corrected his condition. So that really got my attention, and I was the cook. So I learned a lot about cooking whole food plant-based from that. And then I got a very large fibroid tumor later in my life, and I thought, well, I think maybe something could heal this without having surgery. So I researched and tried everything, every modality possible, nothing worked. And even the macrobiotic cooking didn't shift. But I went to Optimum Health in San Diego and had all raw and wheatgrass juice. And in 2 weeks, it was the size of a big grapefruit. It shrunk to this size. So I knew I could work with it and heal it with food. So that really cemented my journey. And then I lived in an Ayurvedic community, so that's where we learned all about Ayurveda. And I loved the food, but I didn't feel it was as powerful as macro or the
Living foods from.
living live raw foods that I have had.
So could you give just a quick sentence, the difference between the three?
Yeah, macrobiotic is all whole food plant-based, no dairy, none of those things.
I'm going to switch
Yeah,
sides
yeah,
with
let's
you
do
so I
that.
can see you.
On
Yeah.
grain and beans and greens and miso and soups like that. Whereas Ayurveda uses a lot of spices based on your constitution. They test your pulse, and that tells them the
interesting.
body type you are, and then you eat according to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And live foods, of course, is all raw, including all the whole food plant-based nuts and seeds, a little tiny bit of avocado, all the veggies, and sprouted beans and lentils, and sprouted grains. So that allows them to maintain their raw form. The
I see.
most healing by far in living all three is raw.
Is raw.
Is
Interesting.
raw.
The most healing
Because
in your
most-
experience.
Yeah, the most nutrients, I believe, enter the body with very little effort. They're the most. And if you live in a climate where it's really cold, it's often hard to eat only raw, and we do. So we love cooked as well as raw.
So thank you so much for explaining that. I just learned a lot. And there is, though, it sounds like a similarity, right? They all have the underlying whole food platform, right?
Exactly.
And so they're different, and you evolve, I guess, you had evolved based on your needs and what was working for your body, but ultimately for you, the raw was the most helpful,
powerful.
the most
Yeah.
powerful. Okay, so somebody once said to me, because I had asked a doctor in the whole food plant-based space, how can I stay raw when I was considering doing some raw? In the winter, because it's cold and I want hot food. And the answer I got was, when you feel like you want something, have hot water.
That's simple.
And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I've always thought about that. Yeah, we can warm ourselves up with hot water, put some lemon or whatever in it, and if you do herbal teas or something. So, yeah, okay.
Well, it's evolved too, and now I see that they're using a lot of foods in the dehydrator
Yes.
to create warmth. And that's really wise, because then you can stay on raw if you wish.
Yes,
It
yes.
is very healing, and the most healing food of all is juicing.
Okay, so we're going to take a pause and go ahead. Let's put this in the oven. Let us know the temperature and for how long we're going to put this in there.
Yeah, it's 350 degrees,
And I'll just tell me how much time.
15 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit more because our oven is not
Okay.
calibrated,
Sure.
but in an everyday oven you should go 15 minutes, and if we check it and at the 15-minute mark and it's not ready,
Sure.
then you tell me and we'll put it in there.
Sounds
So
good.
this is great. And so we're also going to keep the sauce on the side, right?
That's right. So we've got extra
sauce.
pudding. So
Pudding.
this is the way we do it. I like to make a full batch of the pudding, so we've got that in the kitchen, and then we've got the
have
cookies on the
cookies,
side.
too.
That's great. That's great, and we're all looking forward to that. So, you started to just talk just a smidge about juicing. If you want to go ahead and finish your thought, it was we were talking about raw, and then you were talking about juicing. So, do you want to touch base on that?
Yeah, the most powerful healing food I have found is raw juice, because there's no digestion really happening in the body to pull the energy away, and the nutrients are going zip, and you feel fabulous. We're doing a 3-day juice cleanse right now.
That's yes. So, okay, that's good to know. And yeah, your body doesn't have to work to digest or do anything. Many years ago, when I was a teenager, I had an ovarian tumor cyst the size of a grapefruit, and I had it surgically removed. I had no idea that there was something else to try. And so that's why I just wanted to talk to you guys, because you have so much to share, and that's just one of many things that food is truly medicine, whether you try it in all these different forms. If you're doing whole food and you're looking for healing, it's healed me, it's healed you, it's healed you, right? And the list goes on. So
we love it. And now being SOS free with no salt, oil, or sugar, we are tasting tastes in food we never knew existed. When we were doing salt and oil, somehow that masked the taste buds so much.
Yes, definitely. And so what I have learned is that, yes, we all do need salt, but there is a lot of natural salts in the foods that are whole food. And so, of course, the best way to know what your body needs, I would say, is get a blood test, talk to your doctor. But, you know, I don't know how they are in Canada, but here in the United States, everybody that eats the standard American diet is ingesting so much oil, sugar, and salt, and we just don't need it. So, yeah. So, okay. So, Bill, you mentioned a little bit about your health, right? And so, and you did mention about switching to whole food, plant-based, and having Connie be your inspiration. I want to ask you, what was your biggest challenge, if there was one, right? In switching from lacto-vegetarian to full whole food plant-based, and a quick, what is lacto-vegetarian?
Lacto-vegetarian, lactose, of course, is milk derived. And so the lacto-vegetarian is someone who eats all plant-based foods, but adds dairy products.
So dairy products. And you had mentioned to me before we got on here that you had a lot of experience as growing up, right? Do you want to share?
I was living on a cattle ranch for a while, and so we had dairy cows, so there were 2 dairy cows, so I had milk twice a day. I didn't notice this kind of complication. I was drinking quite a bit of milk on the ranch, but I didn't notice this complication. Now, I was younger and all of that, but what I've learned since then, too, is that raw milk is very different than the pasteurized milk and dairy that is so common in our, I'm going to call it almost industrial food environment today.
Yeah.
So everything that we see in the standard grocery stores and so forth.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm happy to be off all the dairy, but, you know, that's just another complication that I discovered later on was that, I didn't have quite the problems on the ranch because it was raw. It was more in its natural
Interesting.
form. Yeah,
Interesting.
So, anyway, dropping the whole thing is what it's all about. The biggest challenge for me was toast and butter.
Toast and butter. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I was like addicted to this. It was my favorite. And it had started early in my childhood. I was playing basketball in high school, and I would come home really hungry. And I would sit at the toaster, and my mother would buy this Russian rye with caraway.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'd put 2 slices in, and as it came out, it would get buttered and 2 more would go in. So by the time I ate those 2, the next 2 were ready.
Oh, wow.
I really got hooked on this stuff.
Wow.
And you know, the more we hear now about from the whole food plant-based doctors, it's not just that it's whole foods, I mean, not whole foods, but that it has a dopamine effect. When we eat a carbohydrate that's been so refined like flour, and when we add the oil from the butter, the fat from the butter, it really stimulates the dopamine. And I look back on it and I was going for it. I would go beyond what I needed to eat just because I wanted to keep the experience that was happening from eating it. So in a way, you could call it a mild food addiction.
Food addiction.
That started back then. So it was still going when I met Connie.
I always talk about awareness and how important it is for people to be aware, because I feel like we're brought up just to trust what we've been taught or what we've been shown, and it isn't until we understand that there's an awareness that we can make a change if we want to, and what that change would be. And so for you to share that you had the connection with that toast and butter and the dopamine in the brain, which is our,
pleasure
connection
exactly.
is, really great. So before we talk about the next question, I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the notification bell, and then you'll be notified when I go live or post new videos. And if you're enjoying this content, please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that, and it will help allow other people to see it. Also, if you have already subscribed, I just want to thank you so very much. I truly appreciate you being here. And so with that said, I did want to ask you, I know that you both had a whole food plant-based restaurant in Santa Fe, I think is the rumor. And so I want to know what inspired you both to open it was all organic restaurant like that. Whole food, plant-based, way to go. I'd love to hear about it.
Well, interestingly enough, we were in a small meditation community where I got my master's degree. And in meditation, I got a very clear signal that that was next. So off we went.
Yeah, so,
And you were right on board here?
Oh, yeah, yes.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, I had just sold my part of a business to my partner, so I was kind of open, and we were both so committed to the whole food plant-based thing. We thought, how can we get the word out? How can we let people really know?
How can we help others with it?
Right. So she had this kind of visionary thing, let's go to the Southwest and do a restaurant, but it really made sense with what where our hearts really were. We wanted to be able to share this so people could discover the power that these foods have.
Wow. So what was it like running that kind of restaurant back was it in the 90s?
Yeah,
and because that was before whole food, plant-based eating was really known, and it wasn't really like a trendy thing, wasn't it like crunchy granola,
Exactly.
What was it like for you at the beginning, starting and being accepted by people? Was people curious, or, how did you get people to try it?
Well, we did a lot of legwork. We actually went out and knocked on doors to let people know we were around.
Yeah, we offered delivery to all the
delivery as well.
downtown businesses, so that was part of how they got aware of it.
Yeah, and so in time, the people that this appealed to, they showed up, and I would say, on any day, like 50% of our clients were regulars, you might say. We knew them almost on a first name basis.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, we liked
So
that.
we had a loyal following. But the neat thing was that they realized the value of these foods, and they wanted to learn how to do it themselves, because you just can't go out and pay for restaurant food to really heal yourself.
Yeah.
So they started asking Connie to teach cooking classes, which she did, which is how we kind of transitioned then into being more of an educational business.
Nice.
As opposed to, it's a lot of hard work running a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long
We
hours,
loved it, and we
physical
were
work.
very glad to be finished with it.
Oh, okay. It was time. So, so let's see. So this is starting. So my question here is, what was it like for you? What made you do that transition from serving people to coaching people, and on whole food plant-based lifestyle?
I think just the love in our hearts to help people who had experienced a difficulty in their health and had no idea that food could make a difference, but were willing to search for answers other than the traditional roadmap that so many people use.
And we wanted to really help people make this a lifestyle instead of just a destination restaurant to go to every now and then.
A lifestyle.
Because that's how we can really heal. It's not a matter of having a really clean, whole food, plant-based meal, even 2 or 3 times a week is a lot to go out to a restaurant. But really, how do I do it morning, noon, and night? So that's what took us from making food. What's that old saying? If you teach a man to fish, it goes the other way. If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats the rest of his life.
Yeah,
it's
so
kinda
if
like
they
that.
have the tool to do it themselves instead of just receiving, they know they're on the right track because they're eating the right food, but how do I make this sustainable and long term? That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and like you, Jennifer, I had a real passion because of my own health experience and that of my husband's, to really make a difference in how food could heal the body. That food actually has this power that we know nothing about unless we explore it and try it.
Yes. And you don't have to be healing. You could be preventative. But there is so much, like you said, in my own journey as well, that food is not just for, like a good tasting hobby, right? We actually need to really think, and you also use the word being awakened by or being aware of when you delivered, so people knew they were aware. And I always talk about the word aware because there's more than just what am I craving or what is, right?
Yes.
And so when you have that mind change, at least for me, everything changes, including your taste buds.
Yeah, that's a real gift.
So this is exciting. I'm really excited about what you're sharing, and that you said it's not like something that was in the restaurant. He just came up with this, so that's really cool. So okay, here's a question for either one of you. What do you think are the biggest barriers that people are facing when trying to adopt whole food plant-based for the long term? What kind of barriers are you seeing with people that you work with or that touch your life?
I think the main thing is cravings. That they'll get on the plan and they'll follow it for a time, and then cravings come up and they easily or not so easily give in to them, and it really interrupts the power of their process. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with maybe a little different term. I would say habits. They've established their habits about what's the comfort food I have, and it was our experience from time to time when we were teaching people and they were having these great results. They'd come to us to get off their diabetes medication or their high blood pressure medication, get rid of the pain, and it would happen. In the 6 weeks, they would be saying things like, "You've given me my life back.
Yeah.
I couldn't get on the floor to play with my grandkids, and it's like, I am there." So they'd be just really, it changed my life. And then sometimes, some people we would see 6 or 7 months later in the health food store or whatever, and the weight was back on, and they were back in pain and that, and we would ask what happened, and usually something came up in their life,
Yeah.
A difficulty, stress in their business or family thing or something like that, and they turned back to food as a mood soother. They had used food in the past to deal with emotional stress, and they went back to old habits.
Yeah. And that's really interesting that you bring that up, that you've seen that. Because I recently lost my father and found myself looking. I wasn't acting or reacting, but I found myself, because I was aware that I was looking for something in the old habits, in the old behavior that was going to soothe that loss. And so instead, I joined them for a juice cleanse. So that's why I think community is so important.
Yes, it is.
And being able to turn to somebody, anybody. It doesn't have to be a professional. It could be a coach. It could be a friend. But somebody that is in the place the direction you want to go, right? Or group, whole food plant-based community is what I would say. And so thank you for sharing that. Let's see. So can you share a success story from someone that you've coached?
Yeah, Sheila, come over here.
Yay,
And
come over
share
here.
What's happened in your life?
Oh, that's great. Okay, everyone. This is Sheila.
This is Connie's sister.
Connie's
who's here
sister.
Vacationing with us.
Yes, please come in, and we'll just make sure that we can hear you.
Yeah,
Aren't they cute? Look it.
she's excited. Not really.
Yeah, so tell us about your...
I can hold this.
Yeah.
I had rheumatoid arthritis really bad and took a medication that was not a really good medication to take, but it took away the pain. And so I got in touch with Connie after I'd been on this medicine for years. I said, I don't want to take it anymore. Please help. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I got on the plant-based whole foods. I stopped taking my medicine gradually, and it was perfect.
And how
It
much
took
weight?
away all my pain, plus I lost 50 pounds, and
Wow.
I wasn't even...
I mean, that's no little
thinking
little
of that.
thing there. 50 pounds is a lot. I'm so glad you made the change because, like you're sharing, you're off medication.
Yes.
And how do you feel now?
Oh, I
You don't
feel
have that pain, but how do you
great.
feel? Do you have energy or?
Yes, I do. Lots of energy.
Awesome. Thank you so much
That's
for
what I
sharing.
seem to
Success
remember,
story.
Sheila, when you were making that change, you would still go on your walks like you had before, but you would say, I have so much more energy and more clarity
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad
was
that you
great.
shared. I'm going to grab the cookies behind us, and we're going to take a pause here with the questions. Oh, my goodness. So what I want to do is, this is really hot, so I'm just going to set it here just so we can let everyone see, and then you decide if it needs to go back in the oven. This is super, super hot.
Those are good. Those are
We
good.
did
So
it.
they're still tender. This is what was really inspiring me to try to make a chocolate pudding cookie is I like really soft. I like, you know, a real melt in your mouth kind of cookie. And I think we've got it here.
It looks terrific. So should we take it off onto like a cooling rack or just let it sit behind us and cool?
Yeah, usually let it sit behind and
Okay,
cool.
let me
and
do
then,
that.
Yeah,
It's
use
hot,
a
hot, hot.
little spatula to pull them off.
Yep.
and it should be
Okay.
good.
This is fantastic. Okay, so we are going to let that cool. I'm going to rinse my finger because
Yeah.
I got a little chocolate on it, which isn't a bad thing, right? And so, okay, so a few more things we could talk about, or if there's anything, you know, that you want to share, that would be great for our viewers. And so let's see. We have, okay, we kind of touched on this, on cravings, but what strategies do you recommend for overcoming emotional eating or cravings for people that aren't whole food plant-based? Maybe they're interested in it, but they're not quite there, or maybe they are there and they've fallen off, you know? Is there anything that you could recommend or suggest?
Well, there are a couple of things. On the food level, you want to get plenty of greens in because they take your cravings away. But even after people have gotten really loving their greens, they'll have cravings often come up. So then it goes to the mental, emotional piece. Maybe you share about that.
So what we found is that what we talked about before, you kind of get these old habits put together because the food hits the dopamine center, gives us a sense of pleasure, and in our mind, we associate that experience with the food with feeling better. So now we've made the transition, or even if we haven't, like you say, Jennifer, if these cravings come up, it's the mind doing what it's designed to do. It's always looking for how to move us toward more pleasure and avoid any pain. So it's got this association with the food. So it's like, this is the first thing. This is like a knee-jerk response. I'm not feeling so good.
Right.
I remember when I was a kid, if I didn't feel good, Mom would take me out for an ice cream or give me a cookie. Yeah. We've established that from early childhood. And so what we've found really helps people is if they will simply pause for a moment, take a little bit of time to let that whole cycle of the habitual thinking settle down. It's kind of like if you think about a snow globe, when we get upset, emotionally upset in some way, it's kind of like shaking the snow globe up. We lose our clarity and we're more reactive. It was like, how can I just get out of this? So like a snow globe, the only way to get a snow globe to really settle down is to put it down. We can't keep going at, come on, snow globe, settle down, settle down. That doesn't change it. But the nature of the snow globe is to settle down if we don't keep agitating it. So same thing with the mind. If I stay with this thought, which is what the craving is, right? We've got this dialogue going on. It's like, well, I could have that cookie. Maybe it's not so good, but what am I going to do to get out of this feeling? And we have this ping pong match going on in our head, giving our attention to this craving. If we can just pause for a moment, it's like putting the snow globe down. And so often people will say, or like Connie will say, I just take a pause for a few seconds. She'll often ask, well, what do I really want? What do I need right now? The information from her body is, why don't you have a glass of water?
Have a glass of water. You're fine. You've had plenty. And so
It's
just
so true.
letting it settle, letting that thinking mind settle, then you can hear those prompts from your body's wisdom.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. I love that snow globe analogy and taking, a minute. I like to think of it as redirecting. And I do that with our dog. If he's upset about something, he doesn't like, loud sounds, we will redirect and put him on a leash and take him around the block.
Yeah.
Same thing with the grandbabies, right? Yeah. So if somebody's upset about something and you show them something different. And same with adults, right? We could go for a walk, or we could have a glass of water or something like that. That's really great. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to push this clear because we're not using that. And those are still cooling, and those are really great. So... okay, so over the years, what have been your go-to meals that you always find yourself going back to, whether it's for convenience or flavor or what? What could you share that's good?
It's a no-brainer for me, Mexican food. Because there are just so many ways to combine the very simple ingredients of Mexican, which is, for me, it's beans, it's corn tortillas, it's jalapeno, it's tomatoes, and lettuce, so just those few things. But I will take a corn tortilla and I'll put it in the air fryer, make it nice and crisp. So then I've got my beans, my tomatoes, the other thing, of course, avocado, big important part of Mexican for me. And I just kind of layer it. So there's the tostada. Beans, tomato, I can put some raw onion on there, avocado, a little lettuce. Salsa is a good one too, so there's the tomato one. And then I can make a taco out of the same thing. And then I can make taquitos. I take the beans and I roll them up and I make a guacamole with all the other stuff.
Wow.
And so, yeah, Mexican.
Oh my gosh, well, okay, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, right.
And what about you, Connie? Do you have anything that's your...
I just love everything, and I love to create new dishes all the time. I love the exploring, I love the taste, I love how I feel.
So
That's
without salt, then you're talking about flavors you get from seasonings, spices, I'm assuming, and different foods, right? Peppers and different things.
It's just in the food itself. I find now I'm eating my greens with a little bit of lime juice on them. That's all I want.
I love it.
I don't want balsamic. I don't want any flavored dressing.
It's a journey, right? Just like we are energy. It's a journey. And so wherever you are, it's okay. It's the right place for you to be. So, but it's nice to hear, when you've been doing it so long, what has been working for you and what you like. So what are some of your favorite, less known whole food ingredients that people should try? Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head?
I love vegetables and different vegetables, and they're very simple. Like sometimes I love zucchini, sometimes I love string beans, sometimes I love asparagus, and I love all the greens. I love broccoli, I love cauliflower, but the dark leafy greens are the power food. They're what really give you the most energy and take away the most cravings, like kale, collards, bok choy, cabbage.
I've got one that you brought over here that maybe would be, what about the dandelion that you brought over?
Fabulous. Dandelion.
I always thought that was just something you picked in the field when I used to call it a blowflower, and I would...
Yeah.
But you can eat that, so the greens. So if you haven't tried a green that you've mentioned, that Connie's mentioned, try something new, maybe.
Yeah, and we love collard greens.
Yeah, those are so good.
Fabulous. And mustard greens. We don't always get those in Canada, but they're wonderful.
Did you have any to
Well,
add?
you know, the thought that came to my mind is kabocha squash.
Oh, we love that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a real common variety, but it is, to me, the most delicious. And the skin is edible on the kabocha, so it's just a real simple dish to make. We'll just cut the kabocha, seed it, and just slice it into little pie shapes, throw it in the oven, bake it up, and you can just eat it just like that, and it's
So
like
good.
candy. It's one of the
So
sweetest squashes we found. And I like that the skin is edible because there's a different kind of earthy flavor to the skin, but it's still sweet too. Really good.
Yeah, I do enjoy that too. But that was a newer one for me over the past few years, actually. I had never tried that. So, so how has your perspective on health and nutrition evolved over the last 35 plus whatever years? If you just have a short little something that you think of?
Yeah, you know, people think, well, I won't do it all the way, I'll do it 80%. That'll make a big difference. What we've learned is doing it 80% gives you 20% of the results. It's the 100% that really shifts the body and really makes a difference in having the optimal health.
Oh, I so hope that Todd's listening to this. Not to point him out or anything, but yeah, going 100%, right? And especially when you know, and you have loved ones, and you want them to know too. Interesting to hear that. Okay, did you want add anything to that, or?
Yeah, well, the one thing that comes to my mind is that getting off the processed, you know, I mean, whole food plant-based by definition does not include processed food.
True.
But in the whole food plant-based world, with the marketing and what you see available at the stores, it's like often has some processed stuff in the midst of it. And the more whole food you can go, the better the impact. So I've put together a little cookbook that's going to be available on our website and through a bundle in the near future. But what it looks at is all the ingredients in every recipe in that cookbook are completely whole food, as opposed to using like almond milk or date paste. It always starts with the whole food.
Oh, I love that.
And works from there. And it's a subtle difference, Jennifer, but I feel like my body notices a difference. If I start with only whole ingredients, and I might use a food processor to make it work, but it's not like getting the commercial processed foods.
Wow. Yeah, you're very in tune to be able to pick up subtle hints. Some people, you know, I know when I was first transitioning, I didn't realize, but now looking back, I could say, oh, that didn't really, even though that was a whole food, something that I bought in the store, I could tell it didn't sit right with me right away.
Oh, good.
And make that change. Yeah. So if someone is feeling overwhelmed about switching to whole food plant-based, what's the first thing that you would tell them? Where do you start?
Eating more greens and vegetables.
Yeah, more greens.
Add them to what you're already doing and you'll notice a difference.
Yeah. Get the greens, the first thing that you're adding, and the first thing to avoid is the process.
Yes.
So add and eliminate.
Okay.
In that direction.
So I like that. Kind of like crowding out your plate even. You know,
Yes.
so if you need to do it a slow, I know some people are like, okay, tomorrow, you know, but that's a really good one to know. So what do you think the future looks like with whole food plant-based living? Is the world moving in the right direction in your opinion? In your opinion?
Yeah, I think that it's becoming so important to medical doctors, and they're beginning to spread the word, and we often look up to them to give us guidance.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's really spreading across the world with this obesity epidemic. There are so many people who don't feel good.
Yeah. And sometimes it's for such a long period of time, don't you agree, that they don't know what feeling good feels like.
Yes,
and you kind of just
true.
think, well, this is just what happens when I get to be X age
Yes.
or whatever. But it, try it out yourself, right? And then you can decide for yourself. So that's really good.
Yeah, and I'm 81 and I feel
Wow.
fabulous.
I would never in a million years guess that. Oh my gosh.
I really feel so good.
Wow.
And we never have a sickness, never.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate. I haven't been sick in a long time, and I appreciate that and make that aware. And I do feel like when I eat that food, the whole foods, I feel like it's a protective shield, sort of,
Yes.
with
I
the
agree.
immune response. So, okay. Well, if you could each give just one piece of advice to someone who is starting out, besides what you were saying, crowd out the plate, what would it be if there's anything to add to that?
Get really clear on why you want to make a change, because that'll help you make the change. What's driving your reason to make a change in your life? And then get educated. Use whatever help you need to really begin to live this lifestyle. People like this beautiful lady here
thank
who's
you.
available. Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
knows so much and can help you make the transition so much easier. It can be so much easier if you have some guidance.
Definitely, yes. I love that. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, the one thing that comes to my mind is listen to your body. Learn to listen to your body. Because what I was saying about the toast and butter, that's an experience from here up. And if I look back at those days, I can see that my body was giving me a signal. It was saying, enough already, enough already. But I was only listening from here up. So this is something that we share with our clients a lot. Listen to your body. There's a wisdom and an intelligence. The fact that there are 70 trillion cells all functioning in the level of harmony and balance that they are functioning, there's a lot of intelligence in there. And it really can guide us to eat well. But we need to learn to listen to the body as opposed to those cravings and those impulses to use food to try and shift an emotional feeling or that.
Yeah, and when you talk about getting quiet or listening, if someone has never heard of that or thought of that, that sounds really unrelatable. Like when I first heard that, I thought I didn't understand what that meant. So does that mean journal? Does that mean, what does that mean? In the same way that people that are new to meditation, I know that I've had people say, well, I sat there, I was quiet, nothing happened, because it's the first thing. So could you break that down a little bit simpler to explain how to get there? What is that? How do you get quiet to hear a response?
Well, I think it's different for many people, but for me, I just sit for a moment and relax. And in that, the thinking mind settles down and I can hear deeper wisdom coming from within.
So when you say I can hear it, what does that mean? Like, do you feel a sensation? Are you drawn to energy? Or, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm just trying to understand what that means.
Well, for me, it actually means a tiny little voice inside.
Oh, a little voice.
Yeah, that's really kind. But it's different for everyone. Everyone, it may be a little different. You may not hear a voice.
Yeah, so for me, I don't hear the voice and I don't ask the questions. That is so effective for Connie. For me, it's more like, it doesn't mean my mind doesn't have a thought in it anymore. There can still be thinking going on. What's different is that instead of grabbing onto the thoughts, it's like if I want toast and butter, I'm grabbing on, I'm riding the coattails, we're going with this one. Instead of that pause or the putting the snow globe down is letting that thought just kind of move on by as though I'm watching a movie and allowing the next scene to come instead of me want to gallop along with the current scene and not let it go. So it's a matter of just being open and easy with whatever shows up in my mind, not pushing against, not trying to get rid of that craving thought, but just seeing this is a thought.
And not being reactive, maybe?
Not being reactive. That reaction is that grabbing hold of it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's good, Bill.
Yeah, and for me, I'm still working on figuring that out, but I find that when I go to sleep and I just can't make a decision about something, when I wake up, sometimes I have the answer. Yeah. So, so it's something to really, just don't think it's weird. Try it. It's really an interesting, wonderful thing. And when you finally have that connection, it's like, wow, very powerful.
It is.
Very
It's
powerful.
really getting in touch with yourself, your own inner wisdom, your own inner intelligence, and it's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, we have to slow down to do that, though. In our society, we tend to be so busy and we just react. So what keeps you both so passionate about sharing and teaching this lifestyle, after all these years and all these experiences that you shared with us today?
Well, because we keep growing and changing in the work that we do. Every person that we work with, we learn so much from.
Yeah, and our cultural conditioning in our culture is pretty much one of acquisition, and there's kind of this promise like happiness and peace and everything comes with, enough money in the bank and the right cars and the right friends and the right relationship. And there are elements of all that contribute to a life that is stable and enjoyable. But this many years into it, it's like, the real juice is in really having a life that's free of pain, that has easy movement, has clarity of mind, because whatever shows up then, I can dance with that part of life. And it's the dance with life that's important, not what I've got kind of stored away in the garage, the guy with the most toys wins. I don't think that's what we're really looking for. So it's really just keeps us going. It's like, how can we help people find this place of real stability and calm and peace in their own lives, to be able to dance with life the way we're all capable of.
I just love that. That is so beautiful. Wow, what a great way to put it. So before we get to the last final words, I'm hoping that we can pull the cookies over here, plate them, and then since I think we'll see if we can get Todd to come and taste them for us. Let me get a nice plate, and I have a little spatula thing.
Yeah, let's do that, a spatula.
Or I've got this cute little one. How about this guy?
That's perfect. Perfect.
And they look great. And I'm going to ask Todd, can you come on in here and be our taste tester?
I think I can force myself.
Force yourself. See
Here
what
he
you can
is.
do.
Go all the way on the other
All
side.
the way.
Yeah.
See what you can
And
do,
we're making
Todd.
a beautiful display here. What a wonderful.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, can you believe
They
it?
smell amazing.
Oh, they do.
Oh,
don't they?
they're
I mean,
so
we're
good,
talking
I think.
chocolate in the air.
What could go
Chocolate in
wrong,
the air.
right?
And are you going to just, so I'm just wondering also what we do with the leftover pudding. Are we going to frost some of these
You're
or
gonna eat
just,
that too, right?
yeah, I don't know.
Right. So, that's what we do. We'll take the...
taste both separately.
Let me get you some
All right.
spoons. Hold
So
on.
you can give us a report.
Yeah, and I will taste this at another time.
Very tiny spoon.
Oh, I always use this small spoon, and he always likes the big
That's all
spoon.
right.
I'm sorry. Whoops.
Look at me. Now I made a mess.
Oh, it's okay. There he goes.
Cleaning my mess.
All right, make sure to let people see what you're eating.
Okay. Wow.
You like it?
Isn't that good?
It's pretty amazing,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's
So
amazing.
Todd's not a super big chocolate person.
Okay.
Oh,
He's a vanilla guy. But lately, he's been enjoying chocolate things. So, yeah, let's hear.
That's
What are
really
your
good.
tastes?
So it's good and creamy. It's not overly sweet, but it's got a very definite chocolate taste to it. So it's really, really good. Without being like sickeningly candy sweet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at these. Let me just show. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that pretty?
They're great.
Do you want to try one of these, or do you want him to frost
Well,
one? or-
yeah, try
Try
one
one
plain
with
first.
plain, yeah.
But
How
I
about
have,
hot? Okay.
yeah, whatever you want.
Let
I
us
have to
know. Come on, come a little center.
Okay, so
Yeah. Ooh.
oh yeah, nice and moist.
Nice and gooey.
Yeah,
Isn't
look
it?
at that.
I mean, it's not really gooey, but very.
Good. Really good.
Yeah, it kind of grows on you, and then you can put a little pudding on there or frosting, whatever you want, and that just adds another.
You could use the other side. Nobody. Okay. Let's see. Show it to the camera too. Everybody wants to see what's going on here. Wow.
I didn't eat plain.
Look at how he frosts. Clump.
I'm
Nice
just
and
gonna stick
yummy.
This whole thing in my mouth.
Yeah, go for it,
Why
sweetheart.
waste the time spreading it around?
What do you think?
I think I could probably eat my weight in this. Really good.
They are really good. I agree.
Glad you like it.
Those are fantastic. You made more, right?
So we talked about they've never frozen the frosting before. I'm wondering, have you ever frozen the cookies before? You know what? I would freeze these if I had extras.
Yeah.
If you know,
If they last that long.
if they last that long,
You
yeah.
certainly could start with freezing half of them.
Yeah.
Pull them back out, yeah. Of course.
Well, I am excited, and thank you so much. I do want to ask, do you have any final words? Anything that your thoughts are, where people can find you, or anything that you'd like to add to the end of our time together, which has been so special, and I feel so blessed to have both of these beautiful people here.
Yeah, so you can find us on our website, amazinghealtheffortlessly.com. And we titled it that because we discovered when these foods basically what restored our health, we didn't do the work. Our bodies did the work. We had to give our bodies what they needed, and from then on, it was just effortless. You just let your body do the work. AmazingHealthEffortlessly.com. And yeah, just go on there if you want to get together. We offer free 30-minute consultations if you want to hear a little more about what we do and explore with us. Be happy to meet you.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thanks so
much.
much.
Yes, I'm just
Yeah.
going to come in here and just
Yeah,
say thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, enjoy this recipe. Don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.